Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future home buyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of home ownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. LoFi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley, and Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this, they lob it to him, he taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3, he's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
They're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser along with Justin D'Onofrio, and it is here, the NBA Finals between the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets. The Miami Heat, pretty much an improbable run. They were the number 8 seed and were losing to the Chicago Bulls in the fourth quarter of the play-in tournament, but they ended up coming back and winning that game. They pulled off a huge upset over the Bucks in 5. They beat the Knicks in 6, and then they took a 3-0 lead against the Celtics. The Celtics tied the series, but the Celtics were not able to make history as the Miami Heat, by great performances by Jimmy Butler and Caleb Martin, were able to get revenge on the Celtics and get to the NBA Finals against the Denver Nuggets. And for the Nuggets, they've pretty much been the best team in the NBA all year. They finally, for the first time in 3 years, they finally have had Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. healthy. They finally have had their team, have had the team they've wanted to have. And it's really shown this year. To me, they are the best team in the NBA. But I do think the Miami Heat are going to give them a series because you cannot count them out with the way they have played all postseason.
No, you can't. The Heat have been there, or this Heat team, going down 3-0 or going up 3-0, having the Celtics come back, but finding a way. Caleb Martin, like Jimmy Butler had 26 in it, but didn't feel like he had 26. Caleb Martin was like the huge part of it. But yeah, you can never count this Heat team out. We've seen it the last couple of years, especially this year in this postseason, the way they did with the Bucks, the way they got up on the Celtics. But yeah, the way the Nuggets are playing, I think this would be, too tough of a task. And I just think like in 2021, where we just saw where Giannis was going to do everything possible to win the finals. I think we've gotten that out of Jokic, and I think that continues. I just think it's to be too tough of a series. But yeah, hopefully it does go 6-7 games.
Now, for both teams, we'll give you like our keys to how each team is going to win the championship. And we're going to start with the 8th seed. We're going to start with the 8th seed Miami Heat. And for me, Jimmy Butler has got to be as good as he was against the Bucks, or close to as good as he was against the Bucks. He can't play the way he did against the Knicks. He was good, but not great. He can't play even the way he did against the Celtics. In the Celtics series, he was not good in Game 5, and he got off to a really, really slow start in Game 6. He can't do that against the Nuggets. He's got to be great in every game. He's got to be close to how he was against the Bucks. He might not be, as amazing as he was against the Bucks, because he was just phenomenal in that series. But he's got to be as close to how he was against the Bucks if the Heat are going to win this series, because they need their star to be a star. He's going to have to match Jokic, who right now is the best player in basketball. So Jimmy Butler has got to be phenomenal for the Heat to win this series. Number 2, Bam has got to be the Robin to Butler's Batman. And the problem is Bam has not played well recently. The last time he scored over 20 points in a game has been in game 2. He was not good in game 4. He was not good in game 5. And he was not good in game 6 of the conference finals. And he wasn't even good in game 7. The biggest reason why the Heat won game 7 was Butler was great. Caleb Martin stepped up. And Jason Tatum was not 100%. And Jaylen Brown was absolutely terrible. But that's another story for another day for how poor he was. And obviously, Joe Mazzulla's not coaching the Nuggets either. So Bam has got to be better in this series. If Bam plays the way he did against the Celtics, there is no way, not a chance that the Heat win this series. And then number 3, they got to just keep hitting threes. In 3 of the games they won over the Celtics, they shot over 50% from 3-point range. If they can do that, that's definitely going to keep them in the series because they were not, as we know, the Heat were not a good 3-point shooting team all season long throughout the regular season. But they have been a very good 3-point shooting team in the postseason. So the 3 things: Butler's got to be great, Bam has got to be better than he was against the Celtics, and they got to hit threes. If they do those 3 things, they will have a chance to pull the upset.
Yeah, I agree with you on 2 of your 3 points that I have the same ones. Miami, when they shoot at least 40% from 3 this postseason, they're 6-2. Yeah, they got to continue to hit 3 because Denver's been really good behind the arc so far in the postseason. So, yeah, they're going to have to keep up with them because I know the Heat, like in that Knicks series where it was a really defensive kind of battle team, they held the Knicks to under 100 points most of that series. That's not going to, that they're not going to be able to play that way and beat the Denver Nuggets away that they're able to score the basketball. My other ones too is Bam. When he's scoring inside and when he's aggressive, it opens up for those shooters to knock down threes because guys kind of collapse on him. And then on the defensive end of the floor, he can't afford getting into foul trouble because that's the only guy that they really have to guard, Jokic. And again, he were not great inside defensively against Boston, and for whatever reason, Boston kept getting lobs to Robert Williams, but Boston never kind of figured that out that was working. But they decided to just keep chucking their threes.
Terrible coaching.
Yeah, that was hideous. We'll see if anything happens there. I would not be surprised if there's a change, but if Bam gets in foul trouble, Cody Zeller's, there's no chance Cody Zeller's gonna be able to keep up with Bam. And keep up with the Jokic, that's just be a horrible matchup. And then lastly, it's Caleb Martin. He's got to continue to just play well and continue to knock big shots. He's been great this postseason. He's kind of, he's looking for a big contract and he's going to get it from somewhere because he's had an unbelievable, postseason so far. And they need him because I think Jimmy Butler's getting tired out there. Like I think game 6, I think for how well he's played, I think they're starting to be a little bit fatigued with Butler. And again, for the way he's played, yeah, you could see why. And they need Caleb Martin to continue to be the guy that he was, especially in that series against Boston.
Exactly. Yeah. It'd be key if Caleb Martin does step up again in this series, but you can't count on it. That's why a guy like Bam Adebayo is definitely got to step up. So now looking at the Nuggets, I think for me, first, Murray's got to continue to stay hot. If Murray can continue to stay hot, that's going to be key because you saw how good he was in that Lakers series, and they were able to sweep the Lakers. So if Murray stays hot, that's going to be key. Number 2, contain Jimmy Butler. And if they can contain Jimmy Butler, they're going to have this series probably won't go more than five or 6 games because if Jimmy Butler doesn't go, he's got to go crazy for the Heat to have a chance in the series. So really, the Nuggets, the biggest thing is containing Jimmy Butler, and I think Mike Malone is going to do a really, really good job of that. He's going to be able to. I think they will be able to contain Jimmy Butler. Yeah, he'll have his games, but I think they will be able to contain Jimmy Butler in the series. And number 3, Jokic just got to keep playing like the best player in basketball. Right now, to me, he's the best player in the game. If he plays like he is the best player in the game, the Nuggets will be champions. They will win this series and win their first NBA title.
Yeah, my first point, this one is, Jokic against that zone defense that I know the Heat like to play a lot, but I don't think that's going to work against Denver. Denver's the best team. They averaged, over a point possession-wise when they face the zone this year. And again, the way you beat a zone is with a big man like Jokic, where he just get to the foul line and kind of distribute from there, or even take a pull-up jumper from the free throw line. That's going to be tough for the Heat, to be able to play that defense. And I think Jokic be able to expose that. And yeah, if he does offensively, Miami's gonna have a tough time because, again, as I mentioned, I think Bam or Cody Zoe, who's ever on him, is gonna have a tough time one-on-one. And if Denver's knocking out shots, because they're double teaming Jokic, it's gonna be a long series for Miami. My second one is defending home court. They've been 8-0 so far the postseason at home, and they were 34-7, which is the second best record in the league during the regular season. That altitude too, with all the time that they've had off, and now the Heat, haven't had a couple of days, but he definitely going to, be a little bit more tired than the Nuggets are. Use that to their advantage. Get up 2-0 quickly, because Miami's played really well on the road this postseason. So they can get the first two at home. Beautiful going out of Miami for them. And then finally, the Denver bench and the other guys are around Jokic. When Jokic's on the floor, they've been plus 10 points per 100 possessions. And when Jokic isn't on the floor, they're a minus 8.9 points per 100 possessions. They've not been great without Jokic on the floor, and that's a huge key. If guys can step up when Jokic, because Jokic can't play 40 minutes a game, and he's just not built for that. And if Denver could find guys where Jokic could kind of sit down for at least 3-4 minutes, and they could find a couple guys who could just score a couple of buckets for him, that'd be huge for Denver, and that would give them a huge advantage in the series.
Absolutely. And you made a good point about the home road thing. Because, yeah, Denver, they have not lost at home in the postseason. They've been great at home in the postseason. And they're starting at home in the NBA Finals. So they can protect home court. They could win 2 games. They're going to be in great shape in this series. But if they do lose a game to Miami, it could be troubling. And don't be surprised if they do, because Miami's played so well on the road. I mean, we knew they won games 1 and game 5 in the Milwaukee series. They went into the Garden in game 1 and won that Knicks series. And that set the tone for that Knicks series when they won game 1 in the Garden. And then don't forget about the conference finals. They won 3 games in Boston, which was the reason why they won the conference finals. So, yeah, the Nuggets, it's very, very important to protect home court because they don't want to be going to Miami with it being 1-1.
No, they don't. With kind of the way they're playing with the time off they've had. Yeah, you want to go up 2-0, take advantage of playing at home. And I did see too, Miami hasn't won in Denver since 2016. I know they only play there once a year, but it's something where they have not won there in a while. So yeah, Denver, the way they played at home, because they haven't looked great on the road. I know they lost a couple of the Sun there, but they destroyed them in Game 6 on the road. But yeah, Denver has so far looked like a better team, obviously at home than they have on the road. So yeah, you want to take care of business, especially the way Miami's played on the road too. Because they went to Boston, and that didn't phase them. That they got a great home court up there, and that did not seem to phase them at all.
Oh no, not at all. So yeah, there is not much that can phase this Miami team, and yeah, that crowd in Denver, I don't think there's a good chance that won't either. So yeah, Nuggets. Make sure you play well in those 2 games at home, and make sure you're in good shape going to Miami. But for the series, I do think the Nuggets are going to win the series. But I am going to give the Heat 2 games because of the way this team competes. But I do think the Nuggets are going to win the series. They got the best player in the league in Nikola Jokic, and they have the better team. And we all remember when Jerry Krause said in The Last Dance, "Oh, organizations win championships, players don't." That is nonsense. That is complete. That couldn't be more false. And I think, and this league has been about for years. This league has been about great players. Great organizations can only take you so far. Great players win championships, from Magic and Bird to MJ to Duncan, Shaq, and Kobe to LeBron to Steph Curry. Great players win championships. Jokic is the best player in the league. That's why I think the Nuggets win this series in 6 games.
Yeah, I'm with you. I get Nuggets in 5, though. I just think the way the Nuggets have played, I think the Heat get worn down. I just think Jokic is too tough of a mismatch in the series, where I think the Miami gets one at home, but I think that's it. I think the way the Nuggets are playing, maybe the layoff affects them a little bit, but I still think they play. I think at home they take care of business. Kadarius Caldwell-Pope's been really good so far in the playoffs. Porter, Murray. I think everybody kind of continues to shoot the ball well. And I just think Jokic, again, Fort has, triple doubles, no surprise. And I just think he's just the absolute monster in the series. And I think Miami has has trouble trying to figure him out.
Yeah, I can't see Jokic not having a big series. I mean, we remember in the previous series against the Lakers, a lot of people thought, because of Anthony Davis, because of Anthony Davis, he'll be able to contain him. Not at all. Jokic had a humongous series. He's just been great all year. And let's be honest, he should be the MVP of the league. I think it's nonsense that Embiid won. Because let me tell you, if you're watching a basketball game, you know that Jokic is clearly head and shoulders above Joel Embiid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He makes everybody around him better, and Embiid kind of does that, but he's not great at it. He's not like Jokic. Jokic is just an absolute, he's just so good at it. And, he's a really good, shooter. He's really improved on that. I think when he's got the ball in his hands, you never know what he's going to do with it. And it's just so tough to guard him. And, being like a point guard, we just haven't seen anything like that before. And yeah, he deserved to win his third straight MVP. He really did.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I think people looked at his point per game average and it wasn't that much, but that's because Jamal Murray was playing a full season. That's because Michael Porter was playing a full season. He was making those guys better. That's why his point, he didn't care about how many averaging like 30 points a game. He didn't care about that. All he cared about was winning. And let me tell you, I was guilty of, picking Embiid to be the MVP. You said it all year long that it was Jokic, and it should absolutely be Jokic. It should absolutely be Jokic because he made the guys better around him, and his team was the best too.
Yeah, and I feel like too, where Philly's on a lot of national TV games where Denver's not, and I feel like for people too, they don't tune in regionally to watch the Nuggets, and they kind of see Embiid, and they just kind of see the points and the stats, and they go, okay. Embiid's averaging more than Jokic, so let's just give it to him. So, yeah, again, Embiid had a great year, but yeah, Jokic has made everybody around him better. Yeah, and you mentioned it. It was a good point that they got. They're finally kind of healthy this year. It's about time, and you've seen it. And like even a guy like Aaron Gordon's, at 16 points, and he was an all-star when during his time with the Magic. So, yeah, there's just so many really good players around. Jokic, and yeah, his point total went down, but again, he almost averaged 10 assists a game as a 6'11", 284-pound point guard. He's just such a special, unique player. And yeah, he definitely deserved it. Over Embiid.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. And yeah, you talked about it, and this was the conversation before the Nuggets series that the Nuggets don't get enough respect because their games aren't on. That's a big reason why their games just aren't televised, so they're not getting the kind of respect they should get. But now I hope they're getting the respect they should get because you saw what they did to the Lakers, you saw what they did to the Suns, and in my opinion, I think they're gonna win the championship, and I think now they're going to get that kind of respect. But throughout the season and throughout the playoffs, they weren't getting that kind of respect because they weren't the team that was talked about, or none of their games weren't primetime games. But now it's nice to see a team like this getting the respect.
Yeah, absolutely, and I feel like it's kind of like the Bucks a couple years ago. Like he's now like on that kind of, Jokic is on that kind of plateau with Giannis. And I think we should start seeing a lot more Denver games on national TV. I don't know how many there were, but it doesn't feel like there's a ton of them. I know it's not the biggest market, but yeah, Jokic is such a great player. They deserve the kind of, Jokic deserves, this team definitely deserves more games, kind of more prime time. I know, like they usually do play in the Christmas game, but it's usually like the 10:30 game.
It's the 10:30 game that no one watches. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's tough, and and I know usually a lot of their games, if there are national TV, are at 10:30 at night on a work or school night. It's tough to kind of tune in and watch 4 quarters of that, but they still should definitely get that respect. They definitely deserve it, and hopefully they do get more primetime national TV games coming up in the future.
Absolutely. So now we're going to move on to DeAndre Hopkins, and officially yesterday he was released by the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, he's not Jamar Chase. He's not Justin Jefferson. He's not Tyreek Hill. He's not even A.J. Brown right now. But I still think he arguably is a top 10 receiver in the game. He arguably can definitely help, and he definitely can help a team out at this stage in his career. I mean, he's clearly a first ballot I don't know about first ballot, but he's clearly a Hall of Famer, and I think he definitely can help a team out. I was looking at 5 teams that would fit him the best going into next year, and first for me was the Cleveland Browns. Number 1, he played with Deshaun Watson. They need a little bit of depth at receiver. I know they traded for Elijah Moore, but they need some depth at receiver behind Amari Cooper. And I think that might be a pretty good fit for Hopkins. Number 4 is the Giants. And I know the Giants are pretty deep at receiver. Obviously, Wandale Robinson will be back. They drafted Jalen Hyatt. They at tight end. They got Darren Waller. So they have a lot of depth at the receiver position. But it would be nice to have that guy. It'd be nice to have that guy that Daniel Jones could throw the ball to on 3rd and 7, on 3rd and 10, and can make a play. So it'd be nice to have that guy. Number 3, I think this team is actually in the most need for DeAndre Hopkins, and that's the Patriots. Because the Patriots, Juju Smith-Schuster is their best receiver right now. They lost Jacoby Myers. They pretty much switched out Juju Smith-Schuster for Jacoby Myers. They got Devontae Parker and Tyquan Thornton. But I think that DeAndre Hopkins, if he got into New England, he would clearly be the number 1 guy. And if you're New England, why wouldn't you take a shot? Why wouldn't you take a chance to go to get another weapon for Mac Jones? So that does make a lot of sense. I don't know. It doesn't look like they're going to do it, but it would make a lot of sense for them to do it. Number 2 for me is the Buffalo Bills. You got Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, but another weapon, because you don't have Isaiah McKenzie anymore. Another weapon would be needed, and DeAndre Hopkins put him and Stephon. This is what he wanted. He said, I want to play with the top 5 quarterback. I want to play with the top quarterback. There is a top 3 quarterback in Buffalo in Josh Allen. I think this would be a really, really good fit for him. He'd have to share targets with Stephon Diggs, but it would be a really, really good fit for him and a good chance for him to win a championship. And then number 1 is pretty obvious: the Kansas City Chiefs. And they lost some receivers. They lost Juju Smith-Schuster. They lost Markel Hardman. I know they got Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore, and they still got Marcus Valdez-Scantling. But this would be a great fit for the Chiefs, because he would be the number 1 option for Patrick Mahomes. So I would really, really like this fit if he went to Kansas City. Justin, your 5 teams that would fit Hopkins the best.
My 5, I got 4 the top 5 that you did as well. My only difference was Detroit. They're looking for their first division title since '93. I know they're going to be without Jameson Williams for the first 6 games. It takes some pressure off when he comes back, because he missed a lot of time last year as well. So, the Lions really trying to make a spark with that offense already. Could be another nice addition there for Detroit. And then next, I have Cleveland. Yeah, teams up back with Deshaun Watson. They do need some improvement at the wide receiver position. Team that in a really tough division, borderline kind of playoff team. He'd help them kind of get over maybe that hump there to maybe try to get a wild card spot. My next team was Kansas City. Yeah, we've seen Patrick, what Patrick Mahomes could do with wide receivers, with Hopkins. I know it would be tough to stay under the cap space trying to sign him. So, again, we'll see if there's any movement or anything, or they might have to make a couple moves to try to get him. But I think you add him to that team with Patrick Mahomes, and they're right back to they're gonna still be on top there in the AFC as the best team. Number 2 is my Patriots. Yeah, they need major help at the skills position. And I know, as you mentioned, I forgot, O'Brien and Hopkins do not have the greatest of pass with their time in Houston, which I don't know if that's going to happen.
Well, here's the thing. O'Brien should just admit he was wrong. Just admit you were wrong. It was a pathetic trade. It was an absolutely terrible trade to trade DeAndre Hopkins. It made no sense at all. Just admit you're wrong if you're Bill O'Brien and move on. But of course, they're probably like, oh well, O'Brien's probably telling Belichick, we didn't really get along. This isn't a good idea. Which would be it would be a great idea, because you need to help your young quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope O'Brien is not thinking that way, because if he wants to help his job out and make Mac Jones look good, he should want Hopkins on the scene, because we need that. I'm not a huge fan of Juju as the number 1. I do not like that. I don't like that going into the year. And if we don't get Hopkins, that's probably our number 1 guy next year. So that's scary. So I would love to get DeAndre Hopkins on this team, and that would be a huge fit. I know he said he did not want to play with Mac, but again, we'll see. I think the Patriots have the money to go out there and sign him as well. And then my last one was Buffalo, Hopkins and Diggs. Yeah, that'd be probably one of the best combos in the sport. And as you mentioned too, he wanted to indicate that he wanted to play with Josh Allen and the Bills, and that's going to be his best shot to win a championship. So Buffalo right now, I feel like makes the most sense for him right now, and for Hopkins.
Yeah, it looks like I think it looks like it's going to be Buffalo and Kansas City, because those teams are going for it, and they're going to make a move like that. They're not afraid to bring in a Hopkins to make their team better. They're going to make a move like that. That's why I'm definitely leaning towards it being either Buffalo or Kansas City to get DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I feel like it's heading in that direction too. I know that I've heard the Patriots that are involved, but yeah, I don't know if they're gonna pay what Hopkins wants, and and yeah, I don't want him to go to Buffalo or Kansas City because that just makes AFC even tougher. And yeah, and especially that division if he goes to Buffalo. So yeah, it feels like those are the two teams he's leading towards. And again, those two teams, you know, don't really need any more help offensively. What they have, but yeah, those two teams, they add a guy like that, and it just makes their offense even more lethal.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, could you imagine Patrick Mahomes with DeAndre Hopkins? I know, all right, maybe Tyreek Hill in his prime was better, but I still think Hopkins is better than what Mahomes had last year, and he won a Super Bowl. So yeah, you put Hopkins, Mahomes, and Kelsey, that offense is gonna average at least 30 points a game.
Yeah, that's a scary thing because Mahomes doesn't need any more help, and they don't need any more talented guys like that. But yeah, they already what Mahomes could do. Yeah, they don't have a ton of wide receiver talent, but Mahomes can kind of make it look good enough. And yeah, you add a guy like Hopkins, yeah, they're going to be right. They're already pretty much the Super Bowl favorites. And they're just their odds are going to get even better adding a guy like DeAndre Hopkins in that offense.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah. I mean, yeah, you add him to a Buffalo, you add him to a Kansas City, those offenses are going to be really, really, really explosive if you add him to one of those two teams. But we're going to shift over and talk about the Yankees. Aaron Judge, he just is red hot. But before we talk about that, we're going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEG's Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
So we thought the Yankees, started to get into a little. The Yankees kind of got into it. We thought the Yankees would get into a little bit of a slump last week. They lost 3 in a row, lost to the Orioles, lost to the Padres, but they started to win now. On Saturday, they beat the Padres 3-2, and then Sunday, Aaron Judge hits a home run, and Aaron Judge has been red hot ever since. 4 home runs in his last 6 games, absolutely phenomenal. He's back on last year's pace. I mean, this guy's been just amazing. Him and Adolis Garcia right now should be 1-2 in the MVP conversation. They both have been just outstanding. But Aaron Judge, what more can you say about him? Home run on Sunday, 2 home runs on Monday, and he took a home run away on Monday, and then he had a home run last night. So he has just been downright phenomenal since he's came back from injury.
Yeah, he has, and he had 18 home runs in the first 46 games last year, and he's got 18 home runs so far through the first 46 games this year. And yeah, he's 18 home runs. I think it's second best in the league behind Pete Alonso, and he's missed 11 games. Like, yeah, he's just hot, and And I'm surprised he doesn't get the Bond, especially with Rizzo being out the last couple of nights. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten the Barry Bonds treatment at this point and just not even try to beat you. But yeah, he's been on a tear. And again, I know it's early and I know he still has some years left, but like on the pace that he's been the last couple of years, and again, if he wins the championship here, he's gonna be at that table of greatest Yankees of all time. Like he may not be the best, but he'll be there with the Yogis, the Babe Ruth.
Oh, absolutely,
the
without a doubt.
He's on pace to become one of those. And again, even if he doesn't win one, Yankee fans still talk about Don Mattingly very highly. He'll be above Don Mattingly in that. Like he's, the way things are going. Again, maybe the back end of this deal, hurts and he's not great. But again, if during his prime, if he can win at least one World Series, it's going to be all be worth it. Because again, we'd all be disappointed if he took that $400 million from the Padres and went there and hit 3 home runs against us this weekend. Like I know the back end may not look pretty for this, but again, they had to do it, and it's so far paying off so far. And again, for the pace he was on last year, now that he got his money and he's just going right back out there and doing the same old thing, it's amazing to watch.
Oh, it absolutely is paying off. It absolutely is. I mean, yeah, just seeing how good he is and seeing since he's returned how this team has played. This team has played much better since he's came back. I mean, his team has been definitely a better team since he's came back. He's been Judge has just been awesome. So yeah, I'm just so happy that he's playing the way that he is again. Yes, he got hurt a little bit, but he's playing the way that he is again. And it's putting this Yankee team right now. They're in 3rd place, but they're getting close to Baltimore.
Yeah, they're only 2 back of Baltimore, only 5 of the Rays, and the Rays have lost the first 2 against the Cubs this week. So yeah, they're sitting. We all kind of. I know I did. I kind of read off the American League East, in mid-April, the way the Rays were playing. And yeah, there's still a chance to win that division right now. And yeah, Judge has done a great job since he's come back. And this team, this offense right now, the last couple of days, Bryce Miller, the way he came up and pitched, usually they don't hit a rookie like they did the other night. And then Logan Gilbert's been pretty good all year too. They've rocked him last night. And I know George Kirby's been pretty good. They get him tonight. But yeah, the way the offense is playing against some of the staffs they've been facing the last couple of nights, yeah, it's been huge. And, Judge's been a huge part of that. It feels like a home run a night. You're surprised Judge doesn't home run a game.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. You're expecting Judge to hit a home run a game. That's how hot Aaron Judge is right now. You're expecting him every time he comes up to hit a home run. That's how hot he is right now.
Yeah. It's impressive. You don't really see it that often, but yeah, it helps the rest of that lineup. So yeah, he's again, it's crazy. And he only had that second one last night. I know his first one, it just hooked foul, but yeah, that was the only line shot. So yeah, for missing 11 games, only being 2 back of Pete Alonso for the most in Major League Baseball is impressive.
Oh, absolutely. It's nice to have 2 New York guys on top in home runs.
Yeah, it is. I know the Mets are kind of teetering right now. They haven't been great either, but yeah, Pete's right there too. Like it could be a fun kind of summer for those two, because Pete with his power too could hit 60 plus, and we've already seen Judge do it. So yeah, it could be a nice home run chasing kind of summer for those 2 New York stars. So yeah, it could be a fun summer for those 2 franchises with those 2 players.
Absolutely. Now the Yankees talk about 2 great franchises, two historic franchises. The Yankees have a huge series this weekend against the Dodgers in LA. And the Dodgers have played well. We all thought early on the Padres were going to run away with that division. That's not the case. The Dodgers have proven that they are the team in that division. I know they lost to the Padres last year in the first round, but they have proven they are the team in that division. Their pitching is good. Their offense, I mean, J.D. Martinez is having a better year. Freddie Freeman's been good. Betts has been good. Will Smith has been good. Their offense is good. Dodgers are a really good team, and the Yankees head there this weekend. And it starts on Friday night with Garrett Cole against Luis Severino against Clayton Kershaw. So that's a really, really good matchup. But I got to give that one to the Dodgers. But Saturday, I'm going to give to the Yankees. And the way the Yankees are playing, you know what? I'm confident that they're going to take 2 out of 3 over the Dodgers.
Really? I'm still the Sunday night one's like a wild card. You never know what you're going to get out of Herman. Bobby Miller's been really good as a rookie come up. I could see them get Friday though. I know Kershaw would be tough, but Severino's looked really, really good too, coming off the IL. in a contract year for him, he's been huge. I could see them maybe get Friday. I'm a little bit worried about, I'm not panicking about Cole, but the home run ball starting to kind of bite him. Sunday kind of got a big lead, and they almost blew it the other day. But yeah, they should get Saturday night because Michael Groove didn't look good the other night. But we'll see. And then Sunday, yeah, it's gonna be a fun series. I could totally see them getting 2 out of 3. But yeah, the Dodgers they got off to like a slow start too, but they're starting to kind of play better. For Freddie Freeman, I think it's like the only more hot hitter than like Aaron Judge. I think his last like 10 games, he's batting like 375 or something like that. Or he's 35 for his last 77. Freeman, like he's been an absolute tear as well. So he may be the only hotter hitter right now than Judge. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun series between Yankees, Dodgers. First Sunday night game of the year for the Yankees, which is odd that it's June and they haven't had one yet. But yeah, 2 of the most extorted franchises, and I don't know if it's gonna change because it feels weird. Because I know we're gonna play them every year. Like it feels really cool that we only play them like every couple of years. But like, I don't know if I'll change my tune if it's like every year we get it. But I know it's only gonna be once a year. But yeah, so it's gonna be a fun series this weekend out in LA.
Yeah, and we'll go back to the series in a minute. We got to talk about Luis Severino. Severino's impact to the rotation is going to be big because if he can pitch well, that's another guy behind Garrett Cole. And then if somehow you can get Rondon back, get him pitching well, that's 3 really good pitchers. And your offense is just hit well because you're going to get Stanton back. Your offense is good. The only thing you're really going to have to fix if Rondon and Severino pitch well and Stanton does well when he comes back, the only thing you really have to fix is that 9th inning guy. That's going to be the biggest thing for the Yankees because if they could have good starting pitching and their hitting can be good, the big thing they'll have to focus on at the trade deadline is going to be that 9th inning guy. That's going to be the big thing for the Yankees to focus on if Severino, Rendon, and Stanton do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that 9th inning. I know Wandy and Michael King have both been pretty good, but yeah, I don't know how much. I would like to have King go the 9th, but I know King can give you a couple innings, so I don't, 8th or 9th, yeah, with home. That could be something they definitely look at. Because yeah, right now there's just you don't know what you're gonna get out of Clay Holmes every night. And yeah, the big 3, Rondon sounded like he pitched a bullpen on Monday and it went pretty well. Like he didn't have any pain. So hopefully he can come back, maybe mid-July at this point, but maybe late July, maybe. But yeah, because Cortez hasn't been great. It just the third time around it's kind of killed him. He can't, and he gave him 5 last night. But yeah, with those 3, Severino, Cole, the way, and then you get Rodon back, that's a great top 3. And hopefully Herman, you never know. Yeah, like Herman could be really good one night, or he could give up 4 or 5 runs in the first couple innings. That's it. Like, you never know what you're gonna get out of him. But yeah, the offense has been well. Again, I think the offense is going to do well until it gets to the postseason. And then it's like, is it, what are we going to get? It's always a wild card. I know Bader's been good, but he got hurt again. Like, that's kind of the problem. They got a lot of injuries last year, and, they've been rolling right now. But, yeah, we'll see what this team could do. And, yeah, the 9th inning man is kind of going to be the main focus point here, when they, in mid-late July to see where they go for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now getting back to the series with the Dodgers. Oh, yeah, it should be a great series. It should be a fun series between these 2 teams. I mean, it's going to be nice to see them on – I mean, I know it's during the NBA Finals, but it'd be nice to see them on Sunday Night Baseball. They're actually on Sunday Night Baseball 3 weeks in a row. Dodgers and the 2 Red Sox series. So, it'll be really fun to see this series between these 2 teams. Both teams, we say this every year, it could be a World Series preview. I mean, we say it every year, but it never happens. But it could be a World Series preview. But, yeah, it'll be nice to see these 2 teams go up against each other.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend. Seeing 2 of the best franchises go at it, 2 of the hottest teams in the league going at it. Sevy versus Kershaw. Great pitching matchup there. It would even be cooler to see Cole versus Kershaw. That'd be even better. But it'll be great to kind of get to see Kershaw. Hopefully we can get a couple runs off him. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun series. Definitely could be a World Series preview. We'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be fun series, and hopefully the Yankees get out of there. And if they win 2 out of 3, at least they'll at least win 4 out of 6 on this West Coast trip, which you'll take every time. Absolutely.
Now we'll move on to the Red Sox, and they've lost 2 in a row. They lost the Diamondbacks on Sunday and had a bad loss last night to the Cincinnati Reds. And I know Sale is pitching better, But the same thing you say about this team all year long, are they going to have enough pitching to keep them in the race in late July? Are they going to have enough pitching? Sale is pitching better. I'll give them that. And this team could hit. I mean, this team hits Yoshida has had a really good year. Devers obviously has had a great year. So this team is pretty good offensively. But again, as I say, every single week, the key is going to be are they going to be able to stay in this thing so they could acquire pitching at the trade deadline? And the way it's going now, we'll see. They got 2 more with the Reds this week, but they got a really tough 4-game series coming up at home against Tampa.
Yeah, they do. This is against the Reds. Yeah, last night's a tough one. They got behind early. They almost came back and had the time run on third there, but Kaz has struck out. But yeah, the Red Sox, you mentioned it's been the pitching. It's something we've mentioned since the offseason that's going to hurt the team was, do they have enough pitching? They moved Kluber to the bullpen. Nick Pavetta's in the bullpen now. Sale pitched well again Friday night, and he was sick, so he kind of battled through Friday night and got him a win. The offense to score runs, but you can't count on your offense to score you 6-7 runs a night. It just doesn't happen consistently enough, and that's kind of going to be where some nights the offense is going to have to, or the pitching staff's going to have to, keep it close. And again, sometimes that just doesn't happen, especially for this team with a couple of the arms that they got right now. But we'll see, because the offense has been really good. Paxton was looking better, and then he kind of had a shaky outing his last time out. So, we'll see if they can get more out of Paxton tonight. They got swept last year at home by the Reds, and I think it was right around this time the Reds swept them. So, this series that you got to win, because, the way I know Tampa's starting to cool off, which I think we thought they would. But they struggled last year in Tampa Bay. They've already got swept by Tampa on the road. So they're already 0-3 against them this year. And, we'll see what the offense has. Adam Duvall started a rehab assignment last night. So he'll probably be back this weekend, I'm assuming. And that's another bat that had a really nice start to the year. But, and that shortstop, Kike's already got 11 errors. Like that's, he's not been great defensively. He's been decent with the bat, but defensively, they've really missed Bogarts. And I think Story, they're hoping, it's like a month away or mid-July, they're hoping, I think. So you got another month and a half before you get Trevor Story back to help that offense even more. So I guess there's like a deadline acquisition kind of that you'll get Trevor Story back in that middle of the lineup. But they're going to really have to get pitching. They're on pace to win 84 games right now, which might get them. That might be enough to get them in the wild card spot. That might.
I don't know. I don't know, because if you look at the wild cards, you look at the Central, they'll get one team, but the West is going to get 2 teams. The West is going to get the Astros, and they're going to get the Rangers. Those 2 teams are going to get in the West. So and then obviously you get the winner of the East. So it'd be 6 teams. So you get 2 teams in the West, one in the Central. That's 3. Then you get a team in the as we said last week, they're going to have to finish in 3rd place. They're going to have to finish in 3rd place and win 84 games. And I don't think that's doing it, because I think the Yankees and the Orioles are going to win more than 84 games. So I don't think 84 games is going to get them win. I think they're going to have to get to at least 90. I think at least 90 is going to get you into the playoffs in the American League this year. I think it's going to be 90.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Yeah, I was thinking 7. I don't know for whatever reason why I was thinking 7 teams get in, but it's only 6. So they're going to have to win close to 90. And right now they're going to have to add some pitching for that to happen. And we'll see what Hein Bloom does this summer. We'll see. But I agree with you. They're going to probably need at least 90 wins. And you would hope at some point Toronto figures it out, but I don't know either. So they might hire the manager sooner rather than later. But you feel like Houston's trying to play better. Texas is not going anywhere. So 90 wins is probably going to be where they have to finish. And I don't know if that team's good enough. I don't know if right now if that team's good enough to win 90.
Yeah, I don't think so. They're definitely not good enough to win 90 games. Now, Cora's a really good manager, but they're definitely not good enough to win 90 games. Now, as we said last week, the balanced schedule is going to help them, but they're still, looking at that pitching staff, looking at that roster, that's not a 90-win roster.
No, that lineup, when you add a Story back, that gives you another couple.
Story and Duvall could help, but it's still, with their pitching, is not a team that's going to win 90 games.
No, it's not. And again, we'll see them soon They have the Yankees twice. They got the Twins coming up in the month of June. The White Sox, the Marlins. I think they got the Rockies too. Like it's, they got a couple tough ones, but like there's some winnable series you're gonna have to win. Like again, you can't lose a series at home to Cincinnati. Like you can't do that. If you want to kind of, I know the balanced schedule helps, but you can't lose a series like that. I know Cincinnati's been a little bit better. They're only 4 under 500, but that's a series you got to win at home. There's no excuse to lose to a team like Cincinnati, especially because you got a nice series win against an Arizona team that surprised a lot of people. That was a nice series victory. So, yeah, they got to kind of find a way to beat Cincy. Yeah, the team's not constructed though right now. They're going to have pitching at the deadline. We'll see. Do they bring back the old friend Erod? He's had a nice year in Detroit. Like they're going to have to
that's
get
interesting.
arm.
That's an interesting one if they can go get Eduardo Rodriguez, because he probably won't be on the Tigers after July 31st.
No, absolutely not. I know the Tigers have been a bit better, and they're only 2 back right now. Actually, as I look at it, they might still be.
That division is horrific.
Yeah,
that division is the worst in baseball.
Yeah, so I guess they could still be in the hunt to win that division.
As you would say, how the balanced schedule benefits the AL East teams, it really hurts the AL Central teams because they don't play each other all the time.
No. Yeah, that right now they may 75 wins may win you that division right now, and they'll get a 3 seed.
I know they'd host the last wild card team.
Yeah, So like would love to. They didn't get a wild card. I'd love it to be playing the AL Central team. That'd be great because that'll be advantage. But yeah, so maybe Erod. But yeah, there's gonna, I know in the coming weeks they'll find out. We figure out more who's kind of more selling, and there's always an arm or two out there in the deadline that some team will go after. We'll see how. Again, with Chaim Bloom, you would think he's gonna have to be pretty aggressive here to try to get this team into the postseason, or just not to finish last in this division. Like you can't just finish last yet again. I know it's a tough division and everybody could finish over 500, but it's still a bad look if Boston Red Sox finish in last place.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, to finish in last place 3 of the 4 years, especially 3 of the 4 years you're the GM, that definitely is a bad look. Now the Sox got a big series against the Rays this week, 4-game series. Friday night you got Whitlock against Glasnow. I think the Rays win that one. Houck against Fleming. I think the Rays win that one. TBD. You don't know who either team's throwing. I might give the Red Sox that one and then Bello on Sunday. I think they lose it. I think the Rays win 3 out of 4. But this is why this is important, though, for the Red Sox to win the next 2 and be 4 games over 500 going into that series. So if say they lose 3 out of 4 in that series, they're still 2 games over 500.
Yeah, I agree with you. They got to win these next 2 tonight. They need a big spark from Paxton. But yeah, I agree with you. I think they lose 3 out of 4 of the series. You're going to have to go up against Glasnow and McClanahan, who is, and I know Glasnow's only made 1 start since coming back, but I expect Glasnow to kind of get back on track and be better. But yeah, I expect Boston to kind of get 1 on Saturday, 1 of the 2 in that doubleheader, and then Sunday against McClanahan. I don't see them winning that one. The way Shane McClanahan has been pitching, he's looked like, again, the Cy Young last year, kind of right up until the end until he got injured. That's gonna be a tough matchup for him. So yeah, you're gonna have to figure out to win 2 these last 2 because Tampa, you're already 0-3 against the Rays this year. You're gonna have to try to steal a couple this weekend, but it's gonna be a tough test.
Absolutely. So we'll wrap up the show talking. We haven't talked hockey in a while because the Rangers and Bruins lost, but we'll talk about the Stanley Cup Finals, and we'll be talking about the team that beat the Bruins, that ended their historic season in the first round. That's the Florida Panthers, who have pretty much cruised since then, beating the Maple Leafs in 5 and then sweeping the Hurricanes to get to this point. The Golden Knights, they're in their 2nd Stanley Cup Final in 6 years. 6 years of existence. They've been to the Stanley Cup Final twice, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Conference Finals 2 times as well, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So 4 times they've been in the Final Four since the Golden Knights have been in existence, but they have not won a championship. But this is their year. You got Jack Eichel. I think this is the Golden Knights year. But I'll ask the person who watches a lot more hockey than me what he thinks is going to happen in this series. And we'll start with the Panthers, though. We'll start with the Panthers. What do the Panthers have to do to complete this dream season?
For them, Bobrovsky's, he's kind of lived up to the hype. And if you remember, you go back to start the Bruins series, he was the backup, They went with the rookie who played pretty well, and then they made the change after couple of the games. And Bobrovsky's been a he's been a brick wall behind the net. He's 11-2 this postseason. His goal percentage is .935. He's been unbelievable so far, and they're going to continue to need him to be that brick wall because the way Vegas could score, they got 4 lines they could score, and he could steal them a game or two in this postseason. And their other one is Matthew Tkachuk. He's got 21 points so far in the postseason. They brought him over from Calgary. That's kind of what they were missing last year. I feel like was that big star. They finally got Tkachuk, this offseason. He had 109 points during the regular season. He's had a couple of really nice kind of big key goals late in games to win them so far. He's kind of had a knack for that, and he's going to have to continue to do that. In the series against Vegas, we'll see too. It's going to be 10 days off. They finished off the Hurricanes a week ago, so they're going to have 10 days off. So we'll kind of see how the legs are coming out, but they're going to be pretty fresh. You feel like I know Vegas is going to have some too, but for them it's Bobrovsky and Matthew Tkachuk. Just got to continue to play the way they've been playing because they've been 2 catalysts there for Florida.
So Bruce Cassidy's team in his first year had the best record in all of not in all of hockey, even though that was the Bruins, but in the Western Conference. We all thought maybe Cassidy would face his former team, but what do the Golden Knights have to do to get their first Stanley Cup in franchise history?
For them, continue to be awesome. 5-on-5 during the postseason, they 49 of their 62 goals have come off even strength. As I mentioned, Cassidy trusts his 4 lines. They all can score. Like the other night, Dallas, you could just see they just put the pressure on Dallas very early in that game, and Dallas just didn't really have an answer for it at all. And then the second one is William Karlsson. He's probably one of the best wing defenders in the game. He's going to probably be on Tkachuk a lot of this. He's got to try to limit it. He did a good job against Connor McDavid and Robbie Hentz of the Stars. I think Hentz only had 2 assists the last 3-4 games of that series. So he's got to continue to kind of limit the star, and make other guys beat you on Florida. They got a couple other nice players, but Tkachuk's kind of the main guy that you got to slow down. And the other one's been Adin Hill. He was their 5th goal going into the year. He was like 5th on their depth chart, and he's been awesome as well so far in this postseason. He's played really well. He's been seeing the puck well. So for him as well, it's going to be a great goaltending matchup, and it's going to be, who's going to be that goalie that gives up the soft goal or two, and that could really be the difference maker. There's some really good offensive players going in this series, but I feel like, with the way these 2 goalies have been playing, it could be a very low scoring series, and every goal, it may be tough to kind of, 2-3 goals may win you a game in the series. So both goaltenders have to be on, and and then the crazy thing is too, with Vegas going into the season, they were only supposed to be like a 7 or 8 seed, like kind of getting one of those wild card spots, and they've had a nice run. My dad works with somebody whose son works in the Vegas front office, and they're not. They before the season, they're like, we're going to win the division, we're going to go on a run the postseason. So that franchise kind of, was on. They kind of knew that they would. They didn't think this was going to be a fluke. And then with the Panthers, if the Penguins won one of their final 2 games, they would have been out of the postseason. And so kind of like the Heat, and they've kind of gone on this run. And, last year they were the President Cup trophy. I think they're just missing that 1 star that they got in Matthew Tkachuk, and they've been off and running. And then again, in Chicago, probably benefit from beating Pittsburgh because they wouldn't have gotten the number 1 pick in the lottery. So it's kind of gone full circle here. And so for the Panthers, both teams have been playing well, and, we'll see what happens. But I think Vegas wins this thing in 6. I think it's going to be a good series, but I think Vegas have a little bit more talent than the Panthers.
Yeah, I think Vegas wins in 6 as well. But my question for the Panthers is it a surprise that they're here? They did win the President's Trophy last year, and I'm guessing they didn't lose a ton of players off that team. Is it a surprise that they're here? I know they weren't good in the regular season, but is it a surprise that they're where they are, seeing that they won the President's Trophy last year?
I guess it shouldn't be at this point, because I'm like, they played really well against the Bruins, and they took them to 7, and I thought they were the better team. And I feel like for now being the Stanley Cup, I feel like it kind of, I know it's disappointing to Bruins fans, but like, you lost to a pretty good team. Yeah, they they didn't lose a ton. They lost Jonathan Huberdeau, but they traded him to get Matthew Tkachuk, and that's kind of been a blessing for them because Tkachuk's been better than Huberdeau was so far, and he's really stepped up this postseason. So I don't think it should be. And Bobrovsky too hasn't, the last couple of postseasons, since being with Florida, he was not great. And he kind of lost his job there, and he's kind of fought for it back, and he's lived up to the contract because he's the highest paid goaltender. He's one of the highest paid players, I think, in the sport, and he's really lived up to it. So I don't think it is. I think because they're an 8 seed, it kind of feels like it. But I feel like it's like the Heat. They got a lot of good players, and maybe they just didn't turn it on. And then again, in the postseason, you run into a hot goaltender, anything could happen, especially the way they just blitzed Carolina. They did a great job against them, sweeping them. So I feel like kind of like the Heat, where it's not it should be a surprise, but it doesn't really feel like it is because it is a good team, and it just, for whatever reason, just couldn't get it going during the regular season.
Yeah. They did have trouble during the regular season, but they have definitely gotten it going in the postseason. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking about the NBA Finals, the first series this year between the Yankees and Red Sox, and the Stanley Cup Finals. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the poles, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. You're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.